Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and if you've got one of these SNES Classic Editions, there is a new wireless controller that you can use with them from 8Bitdo. This is their SN30 and SF30 gamepads, and they mirror the look and feel of the classic Super Nintendo controllers. They have one here. This is the SN30 that's modeled after the US version with the concave buttons on Y and X. And then they have one modeled after the Super Famicom that has colored rounded buttons on it. And these things sell for $25 a piece. They come with their wireless adapter as well. And now you can sit across the room and play your SNES Classic Edition. We're going to be taking a closer look at this in just a second. But I do want to mention, in the interest of full disclosure, this came in free of charge from 8Bitdo. However, nobody is paying for this review. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own, and no one has reviewed this content before I uploaded it. So let's get to work and see what these things can do. So let's take a closer look now at the hardware. These are wireless, but not Bluetooth. They charge via USB here, and there's a cable included in the box to do that. You should get a good amount of usage out of these things in between charges, so they should last about as long as most other game controllers do. They are inspired by the SNES design and feel very similar to an SNES controller, but they're not quite as close to the originals as some of the other 8Bitdo gamepads that they market for other platforms. So this is their game controller that really replicates the look completely, with the select and start button here kind of slanted. This one has a slightly different layout. It's got a label that takes up the entire face of the controller, but by and large, it really feels about the same in the hand because the shape is the same and all the buttons are in the right spot. And then, of course, they've got the buttons designed exactly how they were back in the old days of the console. So it looks different, but feels the same in the hand, and I didn't have any problems getting used to it after playing with the original SNES controllers there. All you have to do to get it working here is just attach these little wireless adapters into your SNES Classic Edition. Each controller will pair up with one of them, and you're good to go. There really isn't any pairing you have to wait for. They just kind of come up and start working right away, and you can start navigating around the interface with it, and you're ready to go. Now, these also work with PCs, Macs, and Android devices, but in order to use it with any of those three things, you do need to connect up a USB cable because it's not running with Bluetooth. So over the cable, it should work fine, and it's also Xinput compatible on the Windows side, so it will emulate to some degree an Xbox controller, but of course you lack the sticks on the bottom, and you also don't have the triggers on here. You just have the shoulder buttons, but a lot of retro-inspired games should work pretty well on this regardless. And I want to do real quick here is just load up my Mario game that I've been playing. And one of the nice things about this is that if you don't want to get up off the couch to hit the reset button to get into your save states or go back to the menu, you can hit down and select, and that will send over a reset signal to the device, and you can go in and load up your save states here, for example, and keep playing along. So pretty nice that they let you do that on there, so you can get all of your functionality here without ever having to get up off the couch. It is a couch potato's dream for sure, and this definitely is a nice little feature of these controllers. So all in, a pretty good experience here on the SNES Classic. Pretty basic controllers, but they do feel pretty close to the originals, nicely constructed and well put together. And we also ran some latency tests on here using both the wired controllers and the 8Bitdo wireless controllers here. And my methodology is to take out my iPhone, which shoots at 240 frames per second. We record the button push and see how long that push takes to register on screen by counting the number of frames to get to that point. And we found the controllers perform pretty nicely, but they do add a slight bit of latency to the mix. So the SNES Classic on its own with the wired controllers attached did about 80 milliseconds on my television over there. It looks like the 8Bitdo controllers add about 15 or 16 milliseconds to the mix, so we came in around 96 milliseconds when we were using the wireless controllers. I don't think you'll really notice the difference between the two. There is just a little bit of latency on the console itself due to the fact that it is an emulation console, but I think for most players this will not really impact things all that severely. So decent performance out of these things, and not too expensive either. Now, if you're looking for a little more flexibility for your controller options, you can buy the wireless receiver standalone. And the wireless receiver in its standalone configuration costs about $12 or $13, and it's compatible with all of the other 8Bitdo controllers that are currently being sold on the market. And the nice thing is that the regular 8Bitdo controllers work wirelessly with just about anything. I've reviewed these before. You can check out all the different things you can do with them. So that does give you a little more flexibility to have a controller that works not only with the SNES Classic here, but your computers and other consoles as well. So that might be something worth taking a look at. But all in as a kit here, not a bad solution. It's very quick to get up and running. Might make a very nice gift for somebody that you know has been playing a lot with their SNES Classic. You can get them off the floor and onto the couch, and they can even do all the stuff like hitting the reset button without actually having to get up and do it. So that might be adding some convenience to the mix. Overall, like most of the 8Bitdo controllers, they feel very nice. They're really nicely constructed with a high quality plastic and not adding all that much latency to the mix either here, and something I am comfortable recommending for fans of this little mini console. I once again want to thank a viewer, Trevor Paisley, who sold me his SNES Classic for the price that he paid for it, and thankfully he paid its $79 retail price for that. So that was a great help to the channel here, and I'm having a lot of fun playing with this little mini console. So that's going to do it for these new little wireless controllers from 8Bitdo, and this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by my Patreon supporters, including gold level supporters, the Black Eyed and Blues Music Hour podcast, Chris Allegretta, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.